My name is Leela, and I have lived in the city of Los Angeles, California, for most of my adult life. If you have ever been to Los Angeles, you know that it is a city built on dreams and shadows. Everyone you meet at a coffee shop or a grocery store seems to be waiting for their big break. I worked in the entertainment industry for years, mostly doing the hard work behind the scenes that nobody ever sees. I was a freelance production assistant, and sometimes I helped with casting or editing scripts. It was a tiring job that required long hours and very little pay, but I took pride in being honest and reliable. In a city where everyone is pretending to be someone else, I wanted to be the person people could actually trust. Being 35 years old in Los Angeles means you have seen a lot of people come and go. You learn to spot the fakes pretty quickly. But then there was Helen. I met Helen at a networking event for women in film. She was dressed in a bright red dress that looked expensive from far away, but was actually falling apart at the seams if you looked closely. That was Helen in a nutshell. She was all about the appearance of success without any of the substance. Helen claimed she was an actress with a long list of credits, but every time I asked her about a specific project, her story would change. One day, she was the lead in an independent movie that went to the Sundance Film Festival, and the next day she was saying she had only done a small walk-on role in that same movie because the director was jealous of her talent. Helen was a master of using people. She would find someone who had something she wanted, like a contact at a talent agency or a nice camera, and she would treat them like they were her best friend in the entire world. She would shower them with compliments and tell them how much she admired them. But as soon as she got what she wanted, or as soon as they realized she was lying to them, she would throw them away like a piece of trash. She was a human vampire who fed on the kindness and resources of others. I stayed friends with her longer than I should have because I tend to be a person who gives people the benefit of the doubt. I thought maybe she was just insecure and needed a real friend. I learned the hard way that Helen did not want a friend. She wanted a fan club and a personal assistant who worked for free. Helen's biggest problem was her resume. In the acting world, your resume and your headshots are your calling cards. Helen's headshots were ancient. They looked like they were taken in the late 1990s. Since she was constantly broke because she refused to get a regular job, she could not afford a professional photographer. Instead, she took selfies on her cellular phone. She would use so many filters on these photos that she did not even look like a human being anymore. She looked like a plastic doll with huge eyes and no nose. It was embarrassing to look at. Her resume was even worse. It was full of lies that were easy to disprove. She claimed to have attended prestigious acting schools that had no record of her. She listed skills like horse riding and stage combat that I knew for a fact she could not do. The formatting was a mess, with multiple fonts and spelling errors in every single line. One afternoon, Helen cornered me at a small cafe in West Hollywood. She did not even ask me how I was doing. She just sat down and slammed a folded piece of paper on the table. She told me that she was tired of being ignored by casting directors. She said it was because her resume did not look professional enough. She did not ask for my help, she demanded it. She told me to take her resume home and beautify it. That was the word she used. She wanted me to make her lies look more believable and her history look more impressive. She wanted me to spend my own time and energy to help her trick people into hiring her. I was already feeling exhausted by her constant drama, but I told her I would think about it. I was reaching my breaking point with Helen. The real turning point came a week later. My father, who had been struggling with lung cancer for a long time, passed away. We had a complicated relationship, and we were estranged for many years, but his death still hit me very hard. I was dealing with a lot of grief and the stress of organizing his affairs. I was at my lowest point, feeling alone and overwhelmed. Helen called me while I was sitting in the hospital waiting room. I thought she was calling to offer her condolences. I pick up the phone, and before I could even say hello, she started screaming about a parking ticket she had received. I told her, "Helen, my father just died." There was a long silence on the other line. I thought for a second that she might actually say she was sorry. Instead, she sighed loudly and said that it was a shame, but then she immediately went back to talking about her parking ticket. She said that her life was so much harder than mine because she had to maintain an image for her career. She actually tried to make the death of my father about her own financial problems. That was the moment I realized that Helen was not just a liar, she was a person completely lacking in empathy. She was a black hole that would suck the life out of anyone near her. I hung up the phone and decided right then that I was done with her. But I did not want to just block her number. I wanted her to understand exactly why she was a failure. A few days later, she sent me a text message in all capital letters. She was demanding to know where her beautified resume was. She told me that she had a big meeting with a manager and she needed the document immediately. She was being incredibly rude and entitled. I felt a cold sense of calm come over me. I decided that I would give her exactly what she asked for. I would beautify her resume just like she wanted. I sat down at my computer and opened the file she had sent me. It was even worse than I remembered. There were typos like actress spelled with only one S and names of famous directors misspelled. I fixed the formatting so it looked sleek and professional. I used a nice font and clean lines. From a distance, it looked like the resume of a serious professional. But then I got to the section for special skills. This is the part of the resume where actors list things like languages they speak or sports they play. I deleted all her fake skills about sword fighting and speaking fluent French. In their place, I added a few very specific descriptions. I wrote that she was a master of the Dunning-Kruger effect. For those who do not know, the Dunning-Kruger effect is a psychological phenomenon where people who are not very good at something believe they are actually experts. It was the perfect description for Helen. Then I added that she was an expert at gaslighting. This is when someone makes another person doubt their own reality through manipulation and lies. Finally, I wrote that she embodies a supercilious manner. Supercilious is a fancy word for being arrogant and acting like you are better than everyone else. I knew Helen. I knew her ego was so large that she would not even bother to read the words I had written. She would just see that the document looked pretty, and she would send it out to everyone in her email contact list. I saved the document as a portable document format and emailed it back to her. I did not say anything else. I just sent the attachment. As I expected, Helen did not say thank you. She did not even acknowledge that I had done her a favor. She just took the file and went on her way. A few weeks passed, and I started seeing Helen's posts on the social media website called Facebook. They were her typical rants. She would write long walls of text with no punctuation and tons of spelling errors. She was complaining about how the industry was rigged against her. She was saying that she was the most talented actress in Los Angeles, but nobody would give her a chance. She would post random verses from the Holy Bible about suffering and endurance, trying to make herself look like a martyr. It was honestly pathetic to watch. A mutual friend of ours, a woman named Sarah who had also been treated poorly by Helen, called me one afternoon. Sarah was laughing so hard she could barely speak. She asked me if I had seen Helen's new resume. I told her I might have had something to do with it. Sarah told me that Helen had been cold emailing every casting director and talent agent in the city using that resume. Apparently, several people had seen it and shared it around their offices as a joke. In the small world of the Los Angeles entertainment industry, word travels fast. People were laughing at her because she was literally advertising her own toxic personality traits as special skills. Helen had been so lazy and so arrogant that she had not even proofread the one document that was supposed to get her a job. She was sending out a piece of paper that called her an arrogant manipulator who did not know how untalented she was. It was poetic justice in its purest form. Helen eventually found out, of course. Sarah told me that Helen was furious. She was screaming that someone had hacked her computer and changed her files. But nobody believed her because she was known for being a liar. If she admitted that I had written those things, she would have to admit that she was too lazy to read her own resume before sending it. Her ego would not let her do that, so she just sat in her anger, unable to explain why she had become the laughing stock of every casting office in town. She had burned every bridge she had left. It has been over 12 years since that happened. I cut off all contact with Helen that day, and I never looked back. I moved on with my life and found a career that makes me happy and surrounded myself with people who are honest and kind. But because the industry is so small, I still hear things about her from time to time. Helen is still in Los Angeles. She is in her late 40s now, and she is still chasing the same ghost of fame. She has only managed to get a couple of tiny roles where she does not even have any lines. These are in movies that are so bad they never even make it to a theater. They just sit on obscure streaming services where nobody watches them. Her reputation as a lying grifter followed her everywhere. In a city like Los Angeles, your reputation is the only thing you really own. Once you lose it, it is almost impossible to get back. Helen never learned that. She is still posting her filtered selfies and her angry rants on the internet. She is still waiting for a big break that will never come because she never put in the actual work to be a good actress or a good person. Looking back, I do not feel bad about what I did. I gave her a mirror to look at, but she was too blind to see her own reflection. She wanted a resume that reflected who she truly was, and that is exactly what I gave her. My life is full of peace now. I learned that you cannot change people like Helen. You can only change how much power you give them over your life. When I think about my father now, I do not think about the day Helen ignored my pain. I think about how I finally stood up for myself and stopped letting people walk all over me. The revenge was not just about making her look silly. It was about taking back my own dignity. It was about saying that my time and my emotions have value and they are not for her to steal. The entertainment industry in Los Angeles can be a very cruel place, but sometimes the people who deserve it actually get what is coming to them. Helen wanted to be a star, but she ended up being a warning story for everyone else. Sometimes, the best way to handle a person who thinks they are the main character is to remind them that they are just a small part of a much bigger world. And in that world, honesty and hard work will always win out over lies and filters. I am glad I did it. I am glad I am not that person who lets others use them anymore. I am proud of the life I have built and the person I have become. As for Helen, I am sure she is out there somewhere right now, complaining to a stranger in a coffee shop about how she is the victim of a great conspiracy. She will never change because she cannot admit she is wrong. And that is the biggest punishment of all. To be stuck in the same place, year after year, wondering why the world does not see how special you are, while the world is busy laughing at the very things you try to hide. It is a long road to success in this city, but it is an even longer road for those who try to take shortcuts. Every time I see a resume now, I smile a little bit to myself. I remember those words I wrote under the special skills section. Master of the Dunning-Kruger effect. It was the most honest thing ever written on an acting resume in the history of Los Angeles. And the best part was that she was the one who handed it to everyone. I did not have to do anything but wait for her own laziness to finish the job. That is the beauty of malicious compliance. You give the person exactly what they asked for, and you let their own nature do the rest. It is a very satisfying feeling to know that justice was served without me ever having to raise my voice or sink to her level of cruelty. I just used her own weapons against her. Now, I spend my days working on projects that I actually care about with people who respect me. I do not have to worry about who is trying to use me for my connections or my skills. I have built a circle of trust that is stronger than any lie Helen could ever tell. My father would have been proud of me for standing up for myself. He always told me that you should never let anyone make you feel small. It took me a long time to learn that lesson, but I finally did. And I have Helen to thank for that, in a weird way. She showed me exactly what kind of person I did not want to be. She showed me that fame is not worth losing your soul over. She showed me that being a good person is more important than being a famous person. So in the end, we both got what we wanted. She got a beautiful resume and I got my freedom. I hope she is happy with her walk-on roles and her filters. I am happy with my reality. And in a city of make-believe, reality is the most valuable thing you can have. I still walk through the streets of Los Angeles and I see the posters for the big movies and the famous actors. I do not feel jealous anymore. I know the work that goes into it. I know the people who made it there by being kind and professional. And I know the people like Helen who are still standing on the outside, looking in and blaming everyone else for their own failures. It is a quiet kind of satisfaction to know that you did the right thing even when it was the hard thing. I will never forget the lesson I learned from Helen. It is a lesson about boundaries and about the power of the truth. The truth has a way of coming out, no matter how much you try to hide it with filters and fancy fonts. You can beautify a resume, but you cannot beautify a rotten heart. That is something Helen will never understand, and that is why she will always be a struggling actress in a city that has already moved on without her. I am glad I am not part of her story anymore. I am the lead in my own life now, and the script is much better than anything she could have ever come up with. I think about the many times I stayed up late helping her with her problems, and I realize how much time I wasted. But that time was not truly wasted, because it led me to that moment of clarity. It led me to the moment where I realized I did not have to be a victim of her selfishness. I could be the one who finally called her out, not by screaming or fighting, but by simply telling the truth in a way she could not ignore. The silence that followed after I sent that email was the most peaceful silence I had ever experienced. It was the sound of a toxic relationship ending and a new chapter of my life beginning. I do not look for Helen on the internet anymore. I do not check to see if she has finally made it. I already know the answer. The world of entertainment is built on talent and connections, yes, but it is also built on being a person people want to work with. Helen is not that person. She is a reminder that being a good person is a skill in itself. It is a skill that she never bothered to learn. And that is why her resume will always be empty of anything that actually matters. I am 35 now, and I have many years of life ahead of me. I am looking forward to all of them. I am looking forward to meeting new people who are honest and working on new projects that are meaningful. I am done with the Helens of the world. I have learned how to spot them from a mile away, and I have learned how to say no. That is the real revenge. Living a good life and not letting the bitterness of others take away your joy. I am living my best life in Los Angeles, California, and I am doing it as the most authentic version of myself. No filters needed, no lies required. Just me, Leela, living my life on my own terms. And that is a role that Helen will never be able to play. The city is still full of dreamers, and some of them will make it, and some of them will not. But the ones who make it with their integrity intact are the ones who truly win. I feel like I am one of those winners. I may not have my name on a movie poster, but I have my name on a life that I am proud of. And that is more than Helen will ever be able to say. I hope this story serves as a reminder to anyone who is being used by a selfish person. You have the power to change the situation. You have the power to stand up for yourself. And sometimes, the best way to do that is to give them exactly what they deserve. Just make sure you use a nice font when you do it. It makes the truth look much more professional. I remember the day my father died and how the sun was shining so brightly in Los Angeles even though my world was dark. I remember how Helen's voice on the phone sounded so sharp and cold. I remember the feeling of the keys under my fingers as I typed those words into her resume. It was a moment of pure creation and pure destruction all at once. I was destroying her hold over me and creating a new path for myself. It was a powerful feeling. I think about the casting directors who saw that resume, and I wonder if they knew it was a gift from a tired friend. I hope they did. I hope they realized that someone out there was tired of the lies and decided to tell the truth. It is a small thing, a resume, but it can tell a big story. Helen's story was one of delusion and greed. My story is one of resilience and justice. I like my story much better. I am sitting on my balcony now, looking out at the lights of the city. It is a beautiful view. I am not waiting for a phone call from an agent or a callback for a role I did not even want. I am just here, being myself. And that is enough. It is more than enough. It is everything. I have realized that the people who try to take from you are often the ones who have the least to give. Helen had nothing but her lies. I had my skills, my heart, and my truth. In the end, those are the things that lasted. Those are the things that built the life I have today. I do not carry any anger toward her anymore. Anger is a heavy burden, and I have already carried enough weight for Helen. I have let it all go. I have replaced it with the knowledge that I am capable of taking care of myself. I am capable of standing up for what is right, and I am capable of finding joy in a city that can sometimes be very lonely. I am glad I shared this story. It is a part of my history, but it does not define my future. My future is wide open and full of possibilities, and none of them involve Helen. I am a 35-year-old woman in Los Angeles, and I am exactly where I am supposed to be. I am free. I am happy. And I am real. That is the greatest revenge of all. The industry continues to change. New people arrive every day with their headshots and their hopes. I see them, and I wish them well. I hope they find the success they are looking for without losing themselves along the way. I hope they find friends who will tell them the truth and who will support them when things get hard. And I hope they never meet a Helen. But if they do, I hope they have the courage to write their own ending to the story. It took me 12 years to fully appreciate the impact of that one little resume update. It was a small act, but it had a huge ripple effect. It changed the way I saw myself and the way I interacted with the world. It taught me that I do not have to be a martyr for someone else's ego. I can be the hero of my own life. And sometimes, being the hero means doing something a little bit malicious to ensure that justice is done. It is not about being mean. It is about being fair. And it was very fair to let Helen's own words and actions be the thing that defined her professional life. She wanted to be known, and now she is. just not for the reasons she wanted. That is the risk you take when you try to build a life on a foundation of lies. Eventually, the truth will find a way to break through. I am just the one who helped it along. I am proud of that. I am proud of the woman I am today, and I am proud of the story I have told. It is a story of Lowe's angels, a story of revenge, and a story of finding yourself in the middle of all the noise. It is my story, and I am glad I get to tell it. The city keeps moving, the lights keep flashing, and the dreams keep growing. But for me, the most important dream has already come true. I am at peace. I have no more acronyms to explain, no more lies to cover for, and no more Helens to deal with. I am just Leela, and that is a very good thing to be. I will continue to work in this industry that I love, but I will do it on my own terms. I will work with people who value honesty and who treat others with kindness. I will keep my resume updated with my real skills and my real experiences. And I will never forget the power of a few well-placed words. It is funny how life works out. Sometimes the people who try to hurt you the most end up being the ones who help you find your strength. Helen tried to use me, but instead, she gave me the chance to prove to myself that I was strong enough to walk away. She gave me the chance to stand up for my father's memory and my own dignity. And for that, I suppose I should thank her. But I think the resume was thanks enough. It was the most honest gift I could have ever given her. I hope she still has a copy of it somewhere. I hope she looks at it and wonders what could have been if she had just been a little bit more honest. But I doubt she does. She is probably too busy editing her next selfie. And that is okay. I am too busy living my life to care. The sun is setting over the Pacific Ocean now, and the sky is a beautiful shade of pink and gold. It is a real sunset, not a filtered one. And it is beautiful, just like my life. I am grateful for every lesson, even the hard ones. I am grateful for my friends, the real ones, and I am grateful for the truth. It really does set you free. I am 35, I am in Lowe's Angels, and I am finally, truly happy. The revenge was sweet, but the life that followed it is even sweeter. I have learned that the best revenge is not just about getting even. It is about getting better. It is about growing and learning and becoming someone that you can be proud of. I have done that. I have turned a negative experience into a positive change in my life. I have taken the lessons from my past and used them to build a better future. And that is something that no resume, no matter how beautified, can ever do for you. It takes real work and real courage. I am glad I have both. I am looking forward to seeing what the next 12 years will bring. I am sure there will be challenges and there will be more people like Helen. But I am ready for them. I have my truth, I have my strength, and I have my story. And that is all I need. I am Leela, and I am the author of my own life. The end of this chapter is just the beginning of a much better one. I am ready for the next scene. And I know that this time the script is going to be perfect, because I am the one writing it. And I promise there will be no typos and no lies, just the honest, beautiful truth. That is my promise to myself and to the world. And it is a promise I intend to keep. Lowe's Angels is a city of stories, and this one is mine. I hope it helps someone else out there who is feeling used or small. You are not small. You are the lead in your own life. Do not let anyone else tell you otherwise. And do not ever be afraid to tell the truth, even if you have to put it in the special skills section of a resume. It might just be the most important thing you ever do. I am signing off now, but I am doing it with a smile. My life is good, my heart is full, and I am at peace. And that is the best ending I could have ever imagined. Goodbye, Helen. I hope you find what you are looking for, but I am glad I am not around to see it. I am too busy living my own dream. The dream of being real in a city that is anything but. And that is the best role I have ever had. I am 35 and I am just getting started. The world is big and I am ready for all of it. No filters, no lies, just me. And that is exactly how it should be. The city of Lowe's Angels is shining bright tonight, and so am I. It is a good night to be alive. It is a good night to be Leela. And it is a very good night to have the last laugh.